from India. Good morning.
Good
It's the
morning.
morning here.
That is your solution to pollution.
All right. So it's 9 o'clock where I am. 9 o'clock p.m. What about everybody else's time zones right now?
It is 11 p.m. where I am.
Oh, late. So you're Eastern
Yeah, it's
Standard Time.
8:30. It's 8:30 here morning.
Wow. There's one really late and one really early. Sorry, my timing's a little weird.
Yeah, Catherine, I guess we have met. Were you there in Macerata?
Yes, I was in Macerata.
So it's Piyush here. I guess I'm getting up.
Yes, I recognize you.
With all my eye mask and all.
Facebook, actually.
Yeah.
Also recognize the name.
Yeah, sure. Thanks very much for that.
So I'm sorry, your username says
Emily. Yeah, it's Emily.
Okay. All right. Coincidentally, a lot of people call me Emily as well. Mainly friends who, yeah, I had a little bit of a identity crisis. So my teachers call me Catherine, and everyone else calls me Emily. It doesn't work out very well when you're in class.
I know a few people who have had issues like that.
Yeah. Okay, so it's just kind of biding time, seeing if anyone else will join.
So anything about Calgary Municipality Challenge?
Yes, have you both read over it? The challenge?
Yet to, I was trying to get some inputs from your side. Anybody else?
Okay. So the Calgary Municipality Challenge is very interesting and unique in comparison to the other challenges. In particular, it's more focused on, you're going to have to do a lot of research on buildings, just kind of the area and culture within Calgary. It's,
Yeah, please go.
Yeah, sorry, Emily, I guess, cut out. Hopefully she'll join back in. But the Municipality Challenge is essentially, we have an area within Calgary we call it East Village. It's just outside of downtown. It's actually very close to downtown, side by side, and it's along one of the main rivers that runs through Calgary. So right now they're trying to develop the area, and I think they're in a couple stages of it. And our challenge really is to have input on what kind of necessities do you think would attract people to live there, and I guess come both to visit as well as to see the area itself, to attract more people into the area. In particular, this challenge is quite important. Hello.
Hi, I'm sorry. My computer just started doing updates out of nowhere.
Wonderful. Okay. So as talking about the Municipality Challenge, it's trying to attract people into living in the area, as well as taking into account things that would be needed for necessities of daily life. mainly because the area hasn't been developed yet. We had a major flood in that area in 2013, and since then the area has kind of been slated to become developed for, I can't seem to find my words, residential area. But because it's right beside downtown, which is very business-like, they want to put things into the area that will attract people to want to live there. It's mainly apartment buildings within the downtown area. So your challenge really is to come up with things that would attract people to want to live there. Reiterating, like, is there a need for a mall or grocery stores, things like that, and what unique aspects of Calgary as well as internationally can you add into the area. It's within development right now, but there's still a lot to do. Right now they've only gotten apartment buildings in. They haven't really put anything else around it.
One question actually. I've heard in 2013 there was a flood over there. So
Yes.
Are there any things in place to tackle natural hazard over there of flooding?
So since the 2013 floods, they have started putting in, I guess they're like flood mitigation along the river. However, I'm not too sure about whether or not the building codes are up to date for flood resistance. I think that's part of something that you would have to look into as part of the challenge. Additionally, there are also aspects of what else could you implement to help further prevent any future problems from arising, natural disasters, earthquakes, things like that. Luckily, Calgary is not really in a big earthquake fault line or anything, but it is kind of something that you want to take a look at in the environment in and of itself. Hence why the municipality challenge is quite unique in comparison to a lot of the other challenges.
Yeah, I was trying to understand if there is any kind of conduit that has been put in order to tackle the flooding of the river, like upstream maybe.
Yeah.
Some conduits that have been built.
Mm-hmm. So there have been some developments to help prevent future floods upstream. I think since the floods, they've had a lot of construction on the river to help with the flow rate of the river. That's just within the downtown area that I know of. Outside of that downtown area, I'm not too sure, mainly because there's also other municipalities involved upstream.
Yeah, that seems actually reassuring when something has been done to tackle the flooding hazard. Yeah, so it might work.
Yeah, it was quite a bad flood. One of the smaller towns upstream was fairly damaged. Quite a few people had to evacuate. The flooding actually within Calgary pretty much split the city in half, mainly because the Bow River, the river that flooded, runs right along the center line of the city. So it pretty much splits the city from north to south. And when it flooded, it did quite a bit of damage. And it wasn't pretty. Hello, Sergio?
Was it because of just melting and
There
everything?
was, yeah. So in regards to the flood, it was partially glacier melt. However, there was a lot of precipitation as well as snow that winter. And so what ended up happening was, because we're situated at the base of a mountain, all the snow and precipitation throughout the winter collected, and as it melted along with heavy rains, it kind of broke through, and it was mainly a combination of a really harsh winter, lots of snow. We had quite a few snow days, and lots of rain, more than usual.
Could you please throw some light on positive part of that area that we can focus upon and build upon for our, say, suggestions?
Okay, so within East Village, because it's right by the river, they've actually, since the flood, they've developed quite a bit of walkways and pathways there. It is very, very close to the Saddle Dome / Stampede grounds. So that's kind of more of where the event areas are. Saddle Dome is where major concerts are held, hockey, one of the biggest sports within Calgary, are held. They've got a lot of festivals and kind of, it's essentially a main event area. Additionally, it runs very close to the C train line, which is the train line. And because it's right next to downtown, there's a lot of mall shopping, as well as it's easy access to all of the major companies and businesses within downtown. One of the best things, I think, with East Village in regards to the C train is that because it's right beside downtown, we have a segment within downtown, right starting from the edge of East Village up until the edge of the other end of downtown, where it's free to ride the train. So it's very easy transport if you're going through downtown. It's also quite close to one of the major roads, and so it's easy access point really to anywhere within the city. About two stops down, two C train stops down from East Village is the zoo. We have a science center, so it's a major attraction to events and seeing things, recreational. And the area, because it's such a prime location, being close to pretty much everything, it's a really good spot to both experience life out as well as life in. Like, it's a good work-life balance area, if you or following what I'm saying. Please.
So as I understand, the connectivity is quite well.
Yes.
Connectivity in terms of transportation and commute. And is it really something, somebody who's looking for a residential area, something positive on, apart from the connectivity, for being a residential area, choosing it as a residence for people?
Because it's right by the river, it's a good place to have relax. There's quite a bit of wildlife within the river, and there is like boating down the river, there's fishing, things like that you can do along the river. It's also a good area for bike riding. There's quite a few bike paths, and you have quite the view. If you're in one of the top apartments, it's quite the view, because you get pretty much the entire cityscape.
About river and relaxing on the river, is it canoe navigable, or maybe even it can take some small ships?
Yeah, so there are people that canoe and kayak on the river. Most people will tube, so it's the big floating tubes down the river. But there is some kayaking as well as some people will take boats, although I'm not sure how often that would be. Most boats
So
that I
basically,
see,
it is also navigable, and some boats can also be there, right? Am I correct in understanding that?
it can be an idea to have a boating dock in the area. However, right now that as far as I know, there isn't one. The boating dock is further upstream.
But is there any possibility to build, say, boating dock apart from like joining the river? That's what I'm trying to understand. Is the river flow that big or that enough to
Yeah.
carry small boats around? Yeah. So yeah,
Yes.
yeah, I get it now. Thanks for that.
Welcome. So I don't think Sergio's introduced himself, or maybe. Sorry.
No, it's fine. So, hello, my name is Sergio. I'm from Mexico. I'm 22 years old, and I study international business. Yeah.
Perfect. So
Yeah. I'll ask
you kind of introduction for Sergio. My name's Catherine. I actually have a degree in Bachelor of Science rather than business. However, I am trying to go for a Master's of International Business, and I am from Calgary. All right.
Nice.
Okay. Emily, do you have any questions or?
Well, I just got my computer back up, so I'm sorry, that kind of frazzled me a little.
It's all right. Technology.
Yeah. I haven't really done a lot of reading, but what are the schools like about as far as elementary, middle school, or for younger children in the area?
I think that's one of the things that is lacking that I am aware of is that there aren't really any schools close by. I'm trying to think of where the closest school is. It's not really an area for families with children, to be honest. I think closest school is probably 2 or 3 kilometers away.
Okay.
About 2 miles, I think is the translation. Yeah.
Yeah. That.
Probably around there. The area is very close to a casino.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Because I know it said they were looking for young couples and families in the challenge.
Yeah. So I think that's part of the challenge, is how to attract the younger crowd. Young couples and families is, I think, just starting families.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. And then my other thought was, what about, I know hockey's huge there, and but how are there for in kind of high performance development teams and programs for hockey and other sports? Are there many in the area?
I know there's a few junior league, like tyke, about 6 to 15-year-olds. Baseball, there is junior hockey. There's also lacrosse, which is actually Canada's official sport.
Didn't know that.
Yeah, and there is like badminton and like tennis. I'm not too sure about anything else, to be honest. I wasn't really part of the sports team really, unless it was like track and field. There is quite a bit of track and field here. There's swim teams as well, and soccer or football is also huge, in particular high school, and field hockey.
Okay. Yeah. I just some stuff about cities that have developed sports academies, and that's really helped with some development. So
I do think there is a little bit of lacking in like an official sports kind of academy. It's mainly a lot of like community teams, unless it's hockey or lacrosse, or track and field, things like that. Other than that, it's mainly like high school, junior high sports and community teams. Sergio, do you have any questions?
Not really, but thanks for asking.
All right. Well, feel free to ask once one arises.
In terms of population, can you throw some light on population? Which languages do they speak? Cosmopolitan nature of the municipality?
So Calgary is very mixed. We have about 1.3 million people, I think. But there is quite a mix. We are pretty much a giant mixing pot. I can't quite name percentages, but there is a large there's a large population from India and Pakistan. There is a Korean population, and there's quite a large Chinese population. There are a couple of French speaking academies around Calgary. There's a Dutch and German population, as well as a large South American and South African. There's quite a bit, I think, from Egypt and Lebanon. There is a small Japanese population, and trying to think up of some others. But it's a very large mixing pot. Language-wise, it's mainly English here. We're not within a province that is dual language speaking, so French and English. We're not in that province. However, there is, I think, Urdu and Punjabi are quite prominent, as well as Cantonese Mandarin, Korean, and I think and there is some Italian and French, but yeah.
How about the entertainment in terms of, say, movies, theater, or any other such kind of entertainment that is around?
Mm-hmm.
Or people like to watch, or people like to go for?
I think pretty much when it comes to terms of movies, it's pretty much big box movies. A lot of action. There's some romance, things like that. Anything Hollywood production, I guess. There is some there are some theaters around the city that will host like Bollywood movies, Asian dramas, movies, but those are within specific
music?
areas. There is a music festival that does happen, especially during the summer. There's Chasing Summer, so that's more of like hype. I don't really know how to describe it. It's like hip hop, EDM, a mash of all genres. So it's essentially Chasing Summer is kind of like Coachella in a sense, if you can kind of relate to what Coachella is. There is like country music is quite a big thing here. Most of the bars and things and dance areas will have a lot of country music. There are some hip hop clubs around. Yeah.
Country music scene looks nice. Yeah, that's something interesting.
It is something. It's quite interesting once you get into it. But I think for the average Calgarian, some might be a little bit sick of country music. We're very fond of it during Stampede time, so July. But for most people outside of July, it's kind of want to lean away from that country music.
Uh-huh.
It's, yeah.
Now that's interesting information.
Mm-hmm. However, there are some groups of people that do love country music. It really depends because we're such a large mixing pot of people.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Personally, I'm not really a big fan of country. We'll dance to it when it comes time, but not something I'd like to listen to every day. Go ahead.
Yeah.
um,
All right, since we're silent, we're going to do a little ice-breaking game then. So I kind of want everyone to kind of go around and share one of their favorite places to eat. It doesn't matter where in the world, just kind of what the name is and why it's your favorite place. So I'll start first. My favorite place is a small restaurant in Seoul, South Korea called Cheongguk Kimbap Jeep. So it translates to Heaven Kimbap House. And the reason why it's my favorite place is because when I first went to Korea for an exchange, it was one of the only places that had an English menu for someone who couldn't speak a lick of Korean. It was one of the only places that I found that had an English menu. And also meals were like $2. So cheap and delicious and able to read. So, Emily?
I don't know if I pick a single favorite place to eat. I love food in general. I think one of my favorite places to go is the Reading Market in Philadelphia,
Okay.
and that's not really a single restaurant. It's like 100 restaurants that are all crammed. Very small area, and you're being strangled or smothered when you're walking through, but there's so many different types of food and places to go that it's just really interesting that you can go to one place and you're being served by an Amish person that speaks German or Dutch, and then you go over to stalls and you're talking to someone that speaks mainly Japanese and is English. It's just a real thing.
Awesome. Piyush? Is there a favorite place that you
Yeah,
have?
maybe I'd like to know some names of dishes. If you can name some, like which one did you like the most
Yeah, you can go
first,
do
then
that.
I'll go from my side.
Oh,
Emily, can you name some dish that you like the most? And Catherine, the one you liked in Korea?
Emily, do you want to go first?
I love any and all types of food.
Can't pick a favorite one?
Yeah, that's probably
All right.
my favorite. But I think just in general.
All right. So I think for me, my favorite dish was probably a dish called mandu tteokguk. So it's essentially dumplings with rice cake in a soup. It's not spicy, which is good for me because I can't take spice. But also it's filling and it cost $1.50.
Ooh.
So you get a giant bowl like this. So yeah, my favorite dish there.
Now that you said dumplings, it made me
Yeah,
think of,
so my favorite place. Sorry.
oh no, go ahead.
So yes, my favorite place to eat, it would be my home cooking from my mother. And if I go out, if I go out, I'd go to some place. Actually, I have been eating out for quite some time now, so I cannot pick one favorite, but I can name some dishes. Dumplings, yes, I do like them. We call them momos in India. Momo is a name for dumpling. Actually, it's a generic term. Like dumpling is a generic term.
Mhm.
Momo is also a generic term for dumplings in India. I like
Okay.
them. I like pizzas, especially authentic Italian ones. And yeah, those are really nice.
Yeah.
I don't want to compare them to other Chicago deep dish or any other pizzas, but I like Italian thin crust pizzas. Then some continental dishes. And I don't know if you know about Indian dishes, so I'm not naming them. Uh, there are lots many in Indian dishes I like a lot. And I've also heard about chilaquiles. Maybe Sergio would be able to throw some light on that. Chilaquiles, it sounded interesting to me. I had a chat with a person from Mexico, and I got to know about this dish. Sergio, do you want to explain the chilaquiles?
Oh yeah, I will be glad about it. Yeah, it's basically just tortilla chip with red salsa. It has cheese, cream, onion, avocado, and you can put chicken or steak or everything. But it is really, really good. Yeah, you should try it. It's a little bit spicy. Well, it depends where you buy it or how you cook it, but it's really, really good.
All right.
I like spices. I'm from India.
Yeah, I can imagine. I would like to try Indian food.
Sorry, one moment.
Yeah,
What?
sure.
It's downstairs, by the fish tank. Sorry, my dad wanted keys to my van.
It's fine.
Oh.
And about my favorite restaurant, well, I had the chance to be an exchange student for 1 year. I went to Finland, and there was a restaurant called Papachi Kebab, and I really, really like that food. I really, really like kebab, and yeah, it was just delicious. Also, I had the opportunity to try kebab in France and I think Belgium, and definitely in the Finnish one was better. I really, really like kebab.
All
Yeah.
right.
And of course, Mexican food. Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I guess on the topic of food, I guess some things that I think you should try when in Calgary. So, Alberta steak, kind of our province within Canada is very well known for steak, for beef in general. However, if you're not interested in beef, there's quite an assortment of vegetarian places that have really, really good flavors. And it's kind of like a fusion between their respective cultures as well as the Calgary culture. Think what else? I think the stereotypical thing to try in Canada is really maple syrup for some reason. Real authentic maple syrup. That's something that is really good.
Delicious.
Pardon?
I love real maple syrup. It's so good.
Yeah. It's so good. I think a thing that you might want to try when in Banff, because Calgary's very close to Banff, would be beaver tails. They're kind of like funnel cakes, but they're shaped like beaver tails. It's so good. It's a dessert, so if you're not really into sweets, then it might not be for you, but if you really like sweets, that's something to try out.
Actual beaver tails for a second. I was oh wow.
Well, there is actual beaver tail too, but I think we like to keep our little river buddies.
Yeah.
At least most people here don't eat our river buddies.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think part of the agenda for the symposium is to go out to Lake Louise, as they are is one of our challenge companies. So I think that's a whole day affair, and that'll be really nice because you'll get to try a bunch of different things and kind of experience the mountains. So it'll be a nice sightsee outside of Calgary.
I'm really
Yeah. I'm not sure if you guys have touched base on the team logo yet. I'm not. Have any of you attended Irene or Maria's webinars yet?
I've been to a few. Or I've been to one from each.
Okay. All right. So we do want to come up with a team logo, mainly for our municipality teams. So I think that's something to work on. has everyone kind of contacted each other within your respective teams?
Yes.
Okay, so you've gotten in contact with everyone within your teams?
Yeah.
All
Yeah.
right. Okay, that's good. What else? So kind of start mixing ideas together, see what you kind of want to throw in. We do want to use these team logos around during the symposium. So it'd be nice to have one up for our municipality team. Oh, has
So is this
go
is
ahead.
this logo for each of the? There's 10 teams for the municipality, right? So
Yes.
is it each team their own logo, or is it one logo for all 10 teams?
I think right now it's one logo for all 10 teams, but I think it'd be nice to have a logo for your own team as well. You will be going through with kind of within your team creating, I guess, like company guidelines in a sense of how your team's going to work and kind of what you're going to follow through with, and how, if a problem arises, how you're going to mitigate it. Mainly because it helps with the flow of the project, as well as kind of keep making sure that no one's freeloading or anything. And it gives expectations.
Okay.
Just a quick question, since I've been really busy, so I haven't really caught up with everybody within the team yet. But is there a larger group chat with everybody from the municipality teams?
Do we have any group for that?
So I think yes. All right, I'm just reading an email from Maria. So if you haven't already, send your WhatsApp number to Maria so she can add you into a larger group with all of the ambassadors, as well as the other team members of the municipality teams, as well as sending your team logo. So I guess it's for each team specifically. Each team has their own logo and slogan and own team charter. So kind of the guidelines. Yeah.
Emily, could you please send our WhatsApp numbers to Maria for our team?
Yes.
Okay. So it's just kind of to get everything in my head organized. Piyush and Emily, which team number are you guys in?
We are team 23.
Okay. And Sergio?
I'm in team 14.
14. Okay. All right. Okay. That's good. All right.
So is there any more points we can discuss on, or I can get ready for my job? Actually, I have a job I have to go to.
Okay, so just kind of to run through, you do have a webinar coming up with your client company next week. So it's mandatory pretty much to have at least one team member in your team to attend the webinar. And please have 2 questions for the client company. Come up with 2 questions and send these questions prior to the webinar to Maria.
Okay.
This is just so that the client companies know ahead of time what questions that they're going to answer, so that they come up with the information that is needed to help you guys. Thinking on the spot sometimes can be a little tough. So I think that's pretty much it. So webinar for client company, come up with your team logos and slogans and charter, and send WhatsApp numbers to Maria.
Okay.
Okay. All right.
Got it.
Yay. Got everything, Sergio?
Yes, everything. Thanks.
All right. So I'm not sure when I'm going to schedule the next webinar for myself, mainly because my schedule's very wonked. I'll have like 12-hour shifts and then 4 hours and then 8. So I'll let you guys know by email once again, and I'll look forward to having another webinar.
All right.
Okay.
Yeah, it's nice.
Yeah.
Thank you, Catherine. Thanks,
Thanks.
Emily.
You're
Thanks,
welcome.
Sergio. It was nice to meet you.
All
Yeah.
right, Sergio and Emily, have a good night. And Piyush, good luck at work.
Yep, I will. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
See ya.